The latest in tech suit innovation. Frictionless fiber construction. Surface lift technology. ENDO compression cage. Seamless exo shell. Tier Benzo. Battleborn.
Hello and welcome to Deep End Live, the brand new show that's going to bring you all the action from elite swimming, para-swimming and diving across the UK. My name's John Mason, and in 2019 we are heading up to Glasgow in April for the British Swimming Championships and the British Para International Swimming Meet. But first, we're here in Plymouth for the British National Diving Cup 29. This show aims to not only bring you all the live sporting action from the pool, but of course get you up close and personal with some of your favorite athletes, have a bit of fun, play some games, and get to know them just a little bit better right here in our new studio. How awesome does this look? We're gonna have some games. See, Chris Mears and I already on the leaderboard. We've got ducks down here, we've got cameras, we've got tweets, we've got Instagram, all that sort of jazz. Loads of fun to be had as the competition progresses through the entire weekend. So get yourselves comfortable because you're in for a real treat. But for now, let's take a look at the weekend schedule. Lots to look forward to. So on day one today, we've already seen the women's 1 meter prelims and the men's as well. We're about to start the women's 1 meter final and the men's 1 meter final. Later on this afternoon, we have the women's 10 meter synchro, the men's 3 meter synchro. Tomorrow, day 2, we have the women's 3 meter final live here, the women's 10 meter final as well. And starting at 5:45, the men's 10 meter synchro, the women's 3 meter synchro. And finally, on day 3, we have the women's 3 meter final and the men's 10 meter final. Loads of action to look forward to. You can keep up to date with all of the action live on BBC Sport website, BBC Connected TV, and of course, British Swimming's YouTube channel. Joining me, look at this, magically, I've got a guest. A man that needs no introduction. He's an Olympic champion from Rio. Chris Mears, welcome to Deep End Live.
Guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, pleasure to have you, mate. You pumped for the weekend?
Man. Cheers. Yeah, I'm really pumped. I'm really excited just to see all the guys dive. Like, obviously, they're really close to me, and I follow diving so closely, obviously, being a diver myself, and just watching the guys in the pool already, the stuff that's happened so far in the training and stuff's been really good.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned this to me earlier. Lots of new dives coming in and stuff. We're going to see that throughout the weekend. For you personally, though, you get a time off. What's it like being on this side?
Do you know what? I think I could get used to it. It's quite nice. It's all right. I feel less nervous.
He's a natural. He's a natural. Now, what have you been up to? I mean, you've had a few months off. What's been happening since you've been away from the diving pool?
I really just wanted to kind of take a back seat and just overview kind of my whole life, really. And just like, I'm making music now, I'm songwriting and producing, and that's really fun, and again, something I'm really passionate about, and something that really helped me in my diving career, alongside when I was doing obviously high-end level diving. That was like something that really helped me kind of turn off in a way.
Yeah.
Switch off. I think that's really important.
Do you think that's important for other divers as well, to have something like that that sort of gives you an excitement outside of the pool?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because if you're just doing one thing constantly, I think it can get really monotonous, and it's really difficult to actually like sometimes put things in perspective. So even if it's like, you know, going out with your mates or whatever, or it's like, Jack does loads of gaming.
Yeah.
You know, I know that because I used to live with him, and he's constantly on that thing. So, you know, as long as you've got something to do to distract you from the pressures and stuff from diving, then we're good.
We're good. And I mean, it obviously worked for you, very balanced, Olympic champion Rio. Touch on that for us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to put it into words, because there's like not any words that fathom the amount of pleasure that brought me. Like, it was just the most amazing, like standing up on that world stage and winning the Olympics. It's like, it's something that you kind of think is possible, but you don't think like it's going to be probable. Like, you don't think it's happened, and it did. It was nuts.
I mean, we were all super proud of you. I know lots of swimmers that are in this pool today are going to be...
There's some niggles and there's some injuries creeping through there that I'll be having to manage. It's good to dive with injuries, because you just know you just got to be confident, right? And you just got to be like, okay, this hurts and this hurts, but I'm just going to go for it. So I think confidence for these guys is key.
Confidence, get that mental game right. Now, you guys are in for a treat, because Chris is going to be with me the entire weekend. Loads of fun to be had. You're also our man in the know, so you're going to help me explain something that will hopefully teach you diving. Maybe you've never seen a diving competition before. You're not too sure how the scoring works and the judging, etc. So we're going to take you through that and hopefully make it just a little bit clearer for you. So we're going to break down 3 important things. First up there on your screens, is the judging. So this is based on several different elements. You can see them here: the starting position, your approach, your takeoff, your flight, your entry, and these are scored between 0 and 10. So 0 would be a failed dive, and 10 would be excellent, like the best you could do. So Chris, talk us through that a little bit more. The judges, you've got to impress them.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to explain it is that as soon as you step up onto the board and you've done all your prep, as soon as you're up there on the board, even before the whistle's blown, the judges are already looking towards you. It's like your moment. So if you're looking nervous and shaky, they can actually account and be like, they're already in their head, their perception of that is like, oh, he looks really nervous. And then you do a bad dive. They might even mark you down even more. So I think really just trying to ooze confidence, and like even maybe if you're not, that can actually help you do it better, because I think if you kind of let off the idea that you're confident, then you're probably more likely to be confident in yourself doing the dive.
That fake it till you make it thing, I suppose. Good advice there. Next up, of course, is the degree of difficulty. So this is broken with a few things. So you have your amount of somersaults, You also have your flight position, whether that's straight, pike, tuck, or free. The approach, which is forward, back, reverse, arm stand. The amount of twists as well, and an unnatural entry. So that is not being able to see the water when you enter it. Why would an athlete should put certain of these sort of degree of difficulty things into their dives?
So degree of difficulty, kind of how it's based on doing dives in different positions, is like, if you do a dive piked, that's like the hardest position in a way in what you can do. Tuck is more basic, so basically it all kind of revolves around, you know, the G-force that you're pulling and stuff like that. You can obviously spin way faster in a tuck because it's a smaller position, right?
Of
in
course,
a pike,
yeah.
It's a bigger position, so it's harder to get the rotation right. So the technique needs to be much better, right? So the higher degree of difficulty, the harder the dives are, but then if you pull it off, the higher the score.
Of course, finding that balance, of course, it is a balancing act with that degree of difficulty and making sure you get it right. Finally, the last thing, probably the most important thing, is the scoring. So to break it down for you, hopefully make it a little bit clearer, there are 7 judges with an individual dive. The 2 highest and the 2 lowest scores will then be removed. The remaining 3 are combined, and then we multiply that by the degree of difficulty, and that gives you your final dive score. Okay, so Chris, these are the guys you've got to impress, and ladies as well, that you need to impress. Millions of people could be watching you if you're at the Olympics, whatever, but it's just these 7 people.
Do you know what, it's really difficult because obviously it's subjective, right? So the judges, sometimes you don't always agree with the scores that they give, but that's final. So I think I never look at the scores when I'm competing because I want to know the outcome. I want to know the points, and I don't want to know the scores, because if I don't agree with something, I don't want to hold that into my competition further.
Of course.
But essentially, yeah, that's how the scoring works. It's quite complicated, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you know, it makes sense, and the higher the degree of difficulty, the more score you can get.
If you can pull it off. I think that's the key, isn't it? You've got to make sure you pull it off. Well, look, hopefully that's made it a little bit clearer for you all at home. We're about to get into the competition, so before we do, let's take a look at maybe a couple of divers to watch. We have our highest qualifier from this morning, Grace Reeds. She qualified with 2:52.62. Won the gold medal in this at on the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. What's her form like? You were here for prelims.
You know, Grace is a veteran at this now. She's so advanced. Like, she's got so much experience, and also she's so confident on the board. And like, she does something that I've never been able to do myself, which is like almost stand on the board and like smile. And I'm like, you look so happy to compete. I'm so nervous, and sometimes didn't enjoy my experiences when I was competing. But Grace really like oozes that confidence I was kind of talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's just going to snowball. Like, she had a really good year last year, and the year before that was really good too. And she's just looking really solid. She had a great time out of the Olympics. She came 8th, I think, or 9th. She was up there. I'm trying to remember that.
She was up there.
But she did so well, and like she's just, again, it's just snowballing.
And we caught up with her earlier as well, and she was sort of saying to me how much she loves competing. Athletes find it quite stressful and pressurized. She seems to have such a good game face going into competition, and it's you can see it in her dives.
Yeah, no, I think she just thrives off of it. She just loves it, I think.
Oh, lucky girl, lucky girl. All right, we'll quickly just touch on our second qualifier, Kat Torrance. Partners with Grace, of course, in the synchro. She qualified on 2:51.60. She won the gold at the British Champs last year. How was her dives this morning?
Okay, Catherine, really good. Her hurdle steps were second to none. Like, I was doing the commentary for it, and I was just kept saying I was so impressed with her hurdle steps. I think towards the back end of this, she dropped off a little bit at the back end of the list, but she put a really solid performance out.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant stuff there. We saw it this morning. Hopefully these girls can carry it through to the final today. Now, I know, Chris, you're going to be heading up to the but for now, it's over to the women's 1 meter final. Good luck to the athletes, and it's up to Bob Ballard in commentary. See you in a bit.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Chris. He'll be up with me in just a moment. So welcome to the first over 3 days. It's the women's 1 meter final, and whilst you've had the main movers and shakers, the main protagonists, I suppose, talked about there, I want to just give an idea of the talent that's kind of emerging. For example, a young lady we talked about a bit earlier today, and we'll talk about a lot more, I'm sure, in the time. 10-year-old Jashami Bent Ashmel, Crystal Palace. This is her first major event, and she's made the final. She'll be the 3rd one up after Andrea Spendolini Syria. There's your start list. So the Crystal Palace 14-year-old will go in 3rd place. Catherine Torrance will be there. We'll actually have 9 going in total, by the way. 9th. One overseas diver who dives to Dive London, but is representing South Africa, is Michaela Boutte. And as you heard, just slightly better in terms of her score today than was Catherine Torrance this morning. 252.65 as compared to 251.60. So very tight. We're underway. First up is Andrea Spendolini-Cyrier from Crystal Palace, and she will open with an inward 1.5. Yeah, not the vertical entry she would have liked. Legs just a little bit kept behind her. All right off the board, but the entry nearly go down, so 36 for her opening diver. I don't need Chris Mears, I can do this all by myself, can't I? Hey. Here he is.
Hello.
Quickest mover that I've ever seen.
Yep.
From Deep End Live Studio right up to here in about 15.2 seconds. Pretty good. Okay, let's see what Michaela Boutte can do, because she was quick as Chris off the blocks with her first dive for South Africa. Inward 1.5 somersault, 36.
That's another good start there from Michaela. Well done, that girl. Good balance. Good entry. Could be better, but good start to the list.
Yeah, they should be happy with that on the 2.4 tariff, 49. Now, this young lady I was mentioning before you came out, Chris, this is her first major competition. She's never been involved in a major competition before, 14 years of age.
That's incredible. I just went down onto poolside and congratulated her. I've never met her before, and I just thought her dive was incredible.
Well, let's see if she can back it up in the final. Another inward 1.5. Not a bad start.
Nice, good start. She looked a little bit slow on the out, like she was a bit unsure, maybe just a bit unconfident because it is her first final. But that's a good start. Again, a steady start, 50.4. Nothing to complain about there.
Best mark of the day so far from the three have gone, all doing the same dive. And indeed, Yasmin Harper will do so too for City of Sheffield. 2.4. Millie Fowler will do it 2. Kat Torrance will do it. Scarlett Mead Jensen and Grace Reed. So only one diver's not doing this dive in 1.
That was nice as well. Obviously all in with 1.5 pikes so far, so we can compare them against each other. I think that was a good entry, but a little bit further back maybe, but it's not an exact science with this, and I think it was the same score as the last one. 50.4.
No, 50.4. So Sean Bent Ashmel, Yasmin Fowler, exactly the same score off exactly the same dive. Millie Fowler, likewise, for we had the 18-year-old from City of Sheffield. Here's the 20-year-old, Millie Fowler, inward 1.5.
Yeah, that'll do. That's another one. Let's see if she's 50.4. That would be nice, but 54. There we go.
Yeah.
She got a better entry there.
7.5's right across the board.
And the strength was good too. She was a lot higher than the other girls, so well earned.
Do you want something different?
Yeah,
just one diver's doing something different here.
The back 1.5 to, yeah, again, standing start.
2.3. Degree of difficulty for Kaylee Sinclair.
Do you know what? That was a bullseye pipe because not a lot of people do it, and she absolutely nailed that entry. It couldn't have been cleaner. Really nice dive there, 48.3.
Yeah, actually just a tad down on the degree of difficulty. Down below 50, 48.3, but a very good start. Final started quite promisingly. Let's hope it carries on that way. Scarlett Mead Jensen, who I know you have high hopes of today. Her best dive in the prelims came in the last round, but she started with a 50.4 with her inward 1.5 this morning. So can she better that and take the lead?
Now, she didn't get the best extension out of the board. You see her feet were a little bit flat. She took off, almost looked like she slipped, and then she missed her hands on the water, unfortunately. That's 46.8. Hopefully she won't be too worried about it because she can work her way back as the list goes. But you don't want to start on a negative.
Just comparing, contrasting the programs of Grace Reed and Kat Torrance. They're not quite identical, but they're very similar. And they both start with the same dive, which you've seen from, or will see from 8 of 9 divers in round 1. Inward 1.5 for Ziva Leeds diver.
Nice, Catherine. Nice power out of the board. Nice pike shape. You can see they're throwing up a little bit of splash compared to normal. Not on the 54 standard, but 51.6 nonetheless, which is really good.
Better than she went this morning.
Yep.
48 it was.
Good start.
51.6, but our leader is still Millie Fowler, 54. And Grace Reed, who was our best diver, just marginally ahead of Catherine Torrance this morning, will go with exactly the same dive to round off round 1. Great height on that.
Brilliant, Grace. Really nice. Just looks so fluid in that dive. Her legs came apart, actually, on the start of the dive. I think that's why they didn't 8 it. They went 7.5. That's being picky, but really good start again. 52.8, was it?
That'll put her in second place.
Very nice.
So we come around again. Round 2 of 5 in the women's 1 metre. And Andrea Spendolini-Siliek of Crystal Palace with a back 1.5 somersaults.
Nice dive. Didn't quite look like she had the confidence to reach back on that finish. Maybe just a little bit nervous for this final. But nonetheless, good effort.
41.40, so an improvement on her first dive. And slightly lesser tariff as well. Michaela Bute of South Africa, who dives for Dive London. And this is equal highest tariff dive for 2.5 for the South African. Only 44 on this morning. She won a bit that tonight.
Now the hurdle step wasn't as good as the prelims when I watched her. It's a little bit far back off the end. It looked like she didn't use all of her power. Maybe she's trying to hold it back. Maybe, I'm not sure. A little bit short on the entry as well.
Remember, the top 2 marks, bottom 2 get discarded. Middle 3 will get multiplied by the degree of difficulty, for example. Deshaun Bent Ashmel will go with a 2.5. Back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist. Good start from the young Crystal Palace diver, 14 years of age. Got a 50 plus in the opening round.
Nice, slightly over a vertical there, but I think I'm quite excited actually about this girl's career. I can just see the power there. I know that she didn't nail that dive, but I can see the intent. The way that she dives is such power and she can control it. Although she didn't display that there, I think she's going to be really one to watch in the future.
Well, she's ahead of where she was this morning. She started with a 45 and a 40 this morning, so she's up on that. Now, Yasmin Harper, one of the divers who went over 50 this morning and this afternoon on this dive. Back 1.5 somersaults, 2.3.
Not bad, not bad. It was really nice how she came out of her pike, the way that she kind of displayed that pause and then reached the arms back, but unfortunately it was a little bit in the wrong place, a little bit long, over a vertical, but not too bad, just not what she's looking for in this final to really make an impact.
Millie Fowler, our leader after round 1. Great start with that inward 1.5. Back 1.5 now, which you've seen from Yasmin Harper and from Andrea Spendolini-Siliek.
She's got such good power. It's nice to watch out of the board. But I think she could reach back a little bit harder and kick out earlier of that dive.
Did she take really too long over the preparation there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe there was a little, I don't know, maybe she was nervous. I'm not sure. But I'd like to see her come out earlier of the dive.
Kelly Sinclair, local swimmer, diver rather, from Plymouth. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 2.4. The degree of difficulty for Kaylee.
We almost had our first one going over the end again. They seem to be containing it a little bit better in the finals. She stepped back. She did the mistake she made in her hurdle, but then I think she panicked in the dive and then ended up washing it over, unfortunately.
Yeah, just 36 for Kaylee. won't help her cause. Now we know that Scarlett Mugen's got plenty of potential, bags of potential to make that top 3, if not win it. Forward 1.5, 1 twist, her lowest tariff dive, only 2.2 on this.
Nice execution. It's a little bit too far forward from the board, but the way she twisted was really, really nice.
Mugensen. Now the two are separated by a negligible amount in the prelims today. Kat Torrance. Different dives from the top 2. Back 1.5 somersaults for Catherine Torrance, which will be followed by a reverse 1.5 for Grace Reed.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. It's great. Really good power out of the board there. Great extension. Slightly over with the legs. Could have knee saved a little bit harder, which is why she washed over and that little bit of splash came up. But the technique was really, really on point there.
48.3, slightly down on what she did this morning for Catherine Torrance. Now Grace Reed. A bit slow out of the blocks this morning, but got going towards the end. At a 43 to 44 around this time this morning, but see if she can improve on her reverse 1.5.
Grace is a bit dodgy in the hurdle there. She managed to save it. She pulled really hard with her shoulders. You can see she really got that moving. She went slightly over because she knew she made the mistake, and she pressed away really hard and managed to save it just about.
Puts her in second place as things stand, but we haven't got any diver over 100 points yet. I think they're all in the 99s. There you go. That's how tight it is. So Torrance is 0.3 ahead of Grace Reed, Millie Fowler 97, and Michaela Bulter in 4th, and Andrea Spendley-Syriec at the bottom. But it's very tight with the tariff dives for the women. At this stage, I always like to be pretty close.
It's a real small margins game, this women's 1 metre.
Back to the 14-year-old Crystal Palace. Reverse 1.5 from her.
We've got
We've
got our first girl going right over the end of the board on the reverse 1.5 as well, which is the worst dive to do it on because it's almost impossible to get your shoulders back on a reverse 1.5 when you're that far forwards. Unfortunately, that is not what she wanted.
No, for those who weren't watching it earlier, we did have a succession of divers go over the end of the board. 3 failed dives in the prelims this morning, but hopefully none this afternoon. But it's no margin for error when your toes are over the board like that, as we've just seen. Now, Michaela Bulter of South Africa with a forward 2.5 with 2.6. First of the bigger tariff dives that we'll see in the programme.
Now she's washed that over there. Unfortunately, she's probably a little bit too pumped for the competition as she did so well earlier. She really wanted to do well today. I spoke to her earlier. She's washed that over. That's disappointing for her, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was her back 1.5, 31.05. Let's move on to Dashan Bent Ashmel, who've we've got an awful lot of hopes for the future for. She's showing she's a great competitor in high-profile competition like this. 1.5 somersaults for the Crystal Palace youngster.
Really nice entry there. I think the feet flattened a little bit as she went through the water just on the end, or there was a little discrepancy there. I didn't quite make up what it was, which they'll penalise for, but the height out of the board and the pike shape was fantastic.
The coach quite likes it. I think she quite likes it too. So she's
also my previous coach, Zinda.
You've been through some coaches, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Yasmin Harper now, City of Sheffield, reverse 1.5 somersaults.
She was bang on the end, but that was perfect the way that she rode that board there. Slightly over the end, but she'll really like the way that she rode that board. Slightly over, unfortunately, probably because she did get such a good start and she's got adrenaline on top of that. It's quite hard to control.
Yeah, 43 is what she gets, 43.7. Now, our early leader, first round leader, Millie Fowler, started with a 54, and she's very much in the mix, as you can see there, 3rd place at the moment. Reverse 1.5 somersaults for the 20-year-old from the City of Sheffield.
And that was a little bit tight to the board there. You see the shoulders going back.
The inhalation of breath from you there.
I didn't like that at all. She came close to the board because she pulled her shoulders back, but she also went sideways, which meant she wouldn't have hit the board because she wasn't in line with the board. But again, that's something that judges can mark down.
Yeah, shame after a really good start. She's faltering just a little bit, 243s. Now, Kaylee Sinclair, Plymouth. Good local support for her. Forward 1.5 with 1 twist.
It's not the hurdle step she would have wanted. She kind of was right into the end of the board, and then she stepped back because she knew she made a mistake, and then she shot forward straight away. Struggled to complete the twist, and then was really halfway down the pool as well, unfortunately, on that one.
All the 6s will count towards her score. Times it by the degree of difficulty, 2.2. That's where you arrive at the score. Right, Scarlett Mew-Jensen up next for Dive London. Got her big dive right at the end, but her middle dive is a back 1.5 somersaults.
Great extension out of the board. Nice pike shape too. She just, I think, yeah, as she pressed out, she kind of pulled her shoulders with it, and that meant that she pulled the dive over, where she should have just left it and gone with it, and it would have been perfect.
Not pushing for a top 3 place at the moment. Back in 5th. Now, battle on between the 2 internationals, Catherine Torrance and Grace Reed. Torrance just with the edge, but it is marginal. 3 rounds to go. Grace has a 2.3 in this round. Catherine has a 2.4, which is a reverse 1.5 somersaults coming up.
She's not quite got that right. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not how good I know that she can do it. She's just so high on that dive. She needs to just commit more to the press out, and then she wouldn't wash over like that on the end. It's not a bad dive, but I know how good she can do it. She will be a little bit disappointed.
Judge 1 did not like that at all. 5.5.
Bit harsh.
But it doesn't count towards the total, so it doesn't matter. Grace Reed then. Chance to maybe regain that lead, though it's a lower tariff dive than Catherine's. 2.3.
And Grace, I'm not sure what she did on that. Let me just watch the replay. She kind of stayed in the pike. She didn't really come out of the 1.5, which meant that she didn't really get that angle into the water where she can make a rip entry. So she kind of, you can see that splash being thrown up there.
Well, she will stay in 2nd place. Down to Concertina just a little bit at the top now. Round 4. Here comes the forward 2.5, the big dive for Andrea of Crystal Palace.
Nice entry. Really good. Nice pike shape. Good long throw there. That's really nice. I think she'll be happy with that. Slightly short of vertical and a bit, again, lacking on power. She's quite small, but steady.
Yeah, only 14 years of age, so plenty of time for getting stronger and bigger. 45.5 now, Michaela Butte of South Africa from Dive London. Great start, but she's gone backwards in terms of marks ever since. Reverse 1.5 somersaults for the South African.
That was more like it. That was better. It was more energetic. I don't think she looked fully confident in the pike shape. She bent her legs a little bit, which is why she's been marked down there. Slightly short of vertical, but the entry was much better, and generally the hurdle step as well looked a little bit more confident.
Well, she's going through her routine. Here's Deshan Bent Ashmel. 4th round dive for the Crystal Palace diver. Reverse 1.5, which she has to get 46 on this morning.
I was a little bit weak on the hurdle step. It looked like she was a little bit holding back there, probably because it's the final. Washed it over, and she was a little bit cast, which means she was a little bit sideways going through the water. So not as good as this morning.
No, tan down, but she got a big dive to come. Now, Yasmin Harper in the top 3 at the moment. So on the board for a potential medal. Two 2.6 dives to finish with as well. Big tariffs. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists on this.
Now again, I don't like the technique that she uses there. She does a half twist and then she does the full twist, which it looks a little bit unorthodox, I kind of want to say, but again, she landed okay in the water. She was more square and it was better than earlier. Earlier, it looked a little bit more scrappy than that, so she did improve from earlier, so fair play to her.
Certainly getting very tight for the minor placings for third place here. Millie Fowler for Sheffield. Come up next with her, well, first of two big ones. Forward this time for her. Forward 1.5 somersaults with 2 twists, 2.6. And again, like she did this, takes a lot of time over this dive.
Oh, that second twist there looks a little wobbly, but she managed to hold on to it. As you can see, their legs coming apart slightly, but she did land upright. She will, yeah, she's been penalised there because the legs came apart, and she did look a little bit shaky in that second twist.
Oh, she'd be annoyed. She had to get up at 40s, maybe low 50s, and put herself right in there, but not to be. Kelly Sinclair of Plymouth with her forward 2.5 worth 2.4. Come back off that. Oh dear. So, 2 6s, 5.5, 42 for Kelly Sinclair. Scarlett V. Jensen now for Dive London. Again, we expect her to finish on a high with a 2.6. This is 2.4.
Come on, Scarlett.
Reverse 1.5 somersaults.
Oh, not quite there. She's pulled that over again. Really, there really loads of power and really nice pike shape, but unfortunately just over-rotating there. Should be quite frustrating for her. She's a really great diver and just not quite hitting it home today.
Yeah, that mark's not what she wanted at all. 34.8.
Yeah.
Not good. But still looks like being a battle between the next two. Catherine Torrance, the 20-year-old from Leeds. Grace Reid, who is from Scotland, but now diving for Dive London. So Catherine has a chance to lay down her marker. She's just in front. 48 in the last round. Grace Reid 44. So she's open about 4-point advantage. No advantage really at this stage.
Really nice dive. Great power out of the boards. Really, really, really impressive there. A little bit arched as she went into her twist, but she saved it a little bit on the repike and she managed to really put her hands on that, which is a really nice dive. Yeah,
really nice dive. Really nice marks too. 55.90. She's got another 2.6 dive to come yet. Reverse to you. With a different dive. Forward 1.5 somersaults, 2 twists. She's got to get 56, 57, 58 to just keep alongside Catherine Torrance.
She's got more DD, I think. Nice dive. A little bit chest out on the finish, but the end was really nice. She was a little bit far back off the end of the board as well. But 55.9 she gets. Or was it matched?
Matched her.
55.9 as well, yeah.
Absolute same as Catherine Torrance, so there's nothing between them as we go into round 5. Look at that. 3.3.5. And a battle on. Look how close that is between Yasmin Harper and Millie Fowler. And you got to say, Ben Ashmel in 5th place. He's doing particularly well.
Well, Grace and Catherine both finished on the forward 2.5 somersault, so they'll be matched on DD, so it will be who does the better dive. Obviously, remembering Catherine is 3 points ahead.
So, Andrea Spendolini-Cyrier from Crystal Palace will finish on the back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists.
Nice dive there. It's a little bit too far away from the diving board, letting them shoulders drop back. The head position was good, and she really went through the water very clean there. Really nice. Got her hands really good.
And that will be very close to her best mark. 45.5 last round, 45 this time for Andrea. Now for South Africa, Michaela Bute. 6th place, so probably not going to quite get into the top 3 here, but she'll want to fish well on an equal highest tariff dive. 2.6, reverse 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists. We have a slight delay here.
Yeah, always with the technical difficulties. Hard for the diver because then they've got to completely readjust. And it's not a long one, so she's all right. A little bit over the end there, but she managed to save that. She put it right up in the air, did exactly the right thing. But then there was the whole thing with having too much power because she was back to compensate for the fact that she was right over the end. So then letting it wash over, unfortunately.
Yeah, close, but no cigar. Very close to some very good diving today, but just slightly off. Whereas this young lady has been very on 5th place. What a result this would be if she could get anywhere near the top 3 today.
It really would.
14-year-old from Crystal Palace.
I've been very impressed with her so far. Let's hope she can finish strong.
4.2.5, biggest dive of the program. Whoa, she brought it
so
round.
Fast.
Goodness
She's been
me.
so fast. The jump wasn't great. She cut off the height a little bit due to the hurdle step being a little bit unsteady.
Come on, judges.
Yeah, but unfortunately she just didn't go high enough. She got her hands and it was really nice, but just not high enough to get a good score there.
Gotta say 46.80 is not a bad return though for that. And she will be very close to that top 3. Not in it, but very close to it. Yasmin Harper now, who is in the top 3. 4.2.5 from her as well. Same dive.
Well, it was a strong knee in the hurdle step and she buried the entry on that. She really took that home. Unfortunately, she was forward. If she was closer to the board, she would have got 7.5, maybe even 8 for that.
That may secure her 3rd place. She was 3rd before, and that will reinforce it. Not too many over 50 dives we've seen in terms of marks. But Millie Fowler, 4th place, she could do it. She's got a 2.6, same dive, forward 2.5. So I reckon she needs probably 52, 53.
Yeah, she needs a good one. That was a nice takeoff and a nice entry too, but I think she's not going to get what she needs there. 52 is good. She does go into rank 2.
Ooh.
That will make it interesting.
Yes. D2 for Millie. I think that will probably put her in 3rd place, actually. Overall, we'll see.
Potentially.
Now, Kaylee Sinclair, who is not going to catch Millie Fowler for many reasons, one of which is the tariff is lower too. 2.4 on the inward 1.5 for the Plymouth diver.
Nice dive to finish off. Really nice to finish in that way. Her other dives, they weren't quite as on point as that, unfortunately. If they were, she would have been up there. But great way to finish the list.
Same mark as she got this morning, 50.40 for Kaylee Spencer. Right, Scarlett Jensen, a bit further back in the pack than we thought she might be.
Scarlett hasn't impacted, unfortunately, but let's see if she can end it in a nice way, in a nice positive note.
Yeah, her best dive of the program this morning was this one. 50.7 she got in the prelims.
She's another one that's fallen victim to being hot on the end of the board with the toes over the end. Not what she wanted again. Maybe she's saving it for the 3 meter.
Maybe. Yeah, that's not quite where we expected it, but she'll move up a couple of meters and have a go on that board now. All comes down to the shootout, if you like, between Catherine Torrance and Grace Reed. I say shootout because they are doing exactly the same dive. Torrance has the advantage of about 3 points, but it's not big. Forward 2.5. Millie Fowler got 52 on this.
Much better than this morning. She keeps bending her legs on this dive. I think she's really nervous about the close to the board, but she's not here. She really nails that home. A little bit far away from the diving board, but she really gets her hands on that. She's made it very difficult, if not impossible, for Grace to beat her.
Well, she'll need very big score here. And what did she get this morning? She got 61. She got 61 morning.
She could do it.
Yeah, which is 7 points more than Catherine Torrance. So
if I know Grace, she's one to step up.
She's going
so
for
let's see.
Grace Reed for the win. There it is.
She's gone
Gone over.
She's blown it, unfortunately. It was a little bit too much pressure for her team, so I'm sure she won't take it too personally there. Catherine takes the win, Grace second.
Yeah, we'll wait for confirmation of who got third, but yeah, Catherine Torrance absolutely nailing her forward 2.5. There's Grace Reed over-rotating to go in. And there's from Dive London, moved from Edinburgh down to London last year. John's having his lunch. Look. What's he got there? Very nice. And a cup of coffee. And, Catherine Torrance will have a chat with her coach Mark. They'll be happy enough with that. So let's see the dive that got it.
It's quite normal after an event. Even when you win like that, I could almost overhear some things they were saying there, and Mark seemed to be quite critical. Even though she did win, she did make some mistakes.
Look at that result. Look at third place. Unbelievable. The Fortis has got into third place.
I think that's a start.
I was about to say that was quite.
No, not quite.
We will give you the we'll give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It was fake news.
I look at that thinking that's
fake
great.
news.
But we'll get you the results. Don't worry. But we tell you the 1 and 2 definitely. Catherine Torrance, Grace Reed in second. All we need to know actually, boys, is the third place, because I think it's probably going to be Millie Fowler's. We'll throw down to John in just a moment. Just one confirmation of third place, which I think, when I do my calculations, is Millie Fowler. But we'll confirm that for you when we go into the men's 1 meter final, which is coming up at 3:05.
Well, there you have it. What a start to the weekend. Congratulations, Cat Torrance. The entire weekend. How was that for you?
It was good. It was nice and steady, you know, nothing amazing, but nothing too shabby. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it, yeah.
I mean, it was obviously you dive together and then you come out and do these individual competitions. What's it like diving against her? Is there a bit of rivalry there, obviously?
You know, there's always a little bit of rivalry, but because we're such close friends as well as synchro partners, it's like, you know, I want to see you succeed as much as you can and as much as I can, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's a competition. You have to do what you can.
Want it to be you, but if not you, she can have it.
Of course, yeah.
Now, big weekend ahead, of course, the start of the first major of this season.
Yep.
How are you feeling as we the rest of the competition?
I mean, this definitely gives me, you know, a bit of boost of confidence, but it's not the end-all be-all. 1 meter and 3 meter and synchro are very different.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, I've just got to and just take everything as it comes.
And with, you know, you're a very experienced competitor at competitions, not just nationally, but internationally as well. How do you keep such a cool head heading into it? Do you have any routines or any little tricks?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time I wear my headphones and I have a little dance, you know, kind of get all the stress out of me. And I think it's important to remember that it's just you, the board, and the dive, and anything else going on around you is completely irrelevant.
Out of your control.
Yeah.
Keep control of what
Yes.
you can control, right? I mean, lots of great divers coming down here to compete as well.
Yeah.
Are there any events that you're not in, you're looking forward to watching?
Always the men's springboard, because I think, you know, Jack Law, expecting big things from him, but I also think the other boys are really starting to climb. They're all starting to do the big dives, so I'm really excited to see, you know, how people are going to place, because I don't really know how that's going to go.
Yeah, and that makes for an exciting competition,
yeah, it
right?
does. I mean, you don't want to go into it going like, oh, I know who's going to do this, so I think that will be a very good one to watch.
And there are lots of, we're certainly noticing it happening over the last 12 months and coming into this season that really are nipping at the heels of you guys.
I mean, you know, like Andrea in the competition then, I haven't seen much of her, but she's kind of come down from platform onto the springboard, she's looking really good. So, you know, I've got to keep sort of eyes in the back of my head, make sure they're not getting too close, but it's nice to see people coming up.
It's brilliant to see. Now, look, congratulations. Before you go,
Thank you.
I need to get a Polaroid this weekend, the best of British. And of course, now, women's 1 meter, you're the best of British.
Yeah.
So, see if I can work it. That go?
I don't know.
I'm sure it did. Well, that'll come out. We'll fix it.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, we'll get that. I'm terrible with technology. They give me to do stuff with tech. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much.
I hope the rest of the weekend goes just as well as this.
Me too.
Still so much more to come. Before we get there, these guys had to dive. I thought yesterday it's only fair if I give it a go as well. So Chris Mears took me on a diving lesson, so let's take a look. I am here with this legend, Chris Mears. He's going to teach me a few things today. I'm a little nervous. 2 years ago at the European Championships, Tom taught me how to dive, and we almost got a 1.5. So I'm hoping 2 years on, do it now. What do you think?
I think that's definitely the main aim. The 1.5 nailed, upright, hopefully.
Upright and
Yeah.
not dead. That
Yeah.
would be a good thing.
That
too.
would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good.
So what are we going to do? What are you going to teach me?
Well, we've warmed up. I'm going to get you to do some little technical things, just obviously to check that it's going to be safe.
Okay.
I want to get you doing a somersault off of this board, the 1 meter board. Obviously, dry rigged up with a mat.
Okay.
And I'm going to make sure it's all safe, it's all kosher, it's all good.
It's
You're going to
all
be fine.
good. All right, good.
And that is going to basically prepare you for the 1.5 in the pool.
All right, let's do it. Tom, I hope I remember all of your training from 2 years ago. It's been a while.
Really, really, really good. Yeah.
So we've done the somersault. I think Tom would be proud, right?
Great. Awesome.
Killed
You did
it.
a really good job. Point his toes and he's there.
Point my toes. Big vibed. I didn't die. What are we doing next? This is the new bit.
Right. What I want to do, which I think maybe the part that Tom left out, is the drill to get you to really drill into your head the fact that you're going to be landing on your head, right? So you're doing a somersault and then you're going into the water, right, upright. So what I want to do is try and simulate, and I
Okay.
think that'll really help you with your prep into moving that into the pool.
Okay.
It's a big step.
It is a
I
big
think
step.
we can do it.
This is a bit I'm worried about, but I'm master here.
Get your hands close to this. You were out here.
Okay. So there you have it. I'm actually feeling pretty good. How did I do in dry land?
Well, you got a really good teacher. I think he taught you well. It looks good. Looks promising.
Good. And we're ready for my
Say that.
chunks.
Yes.
Let's get into
Let's
it.
go.
Well, there you have it. I think I did pretty good in the dry land. I think, Lucas?
Yeah, no, not too bad.
I had a pro teacher, that's what it was. If you want to see how I did in the pool, I did go... Oh, he's got his mic. If you do want to, then of course do stick around because we're going to play that later on. But right now I'm being joined by an absolute legend, a rising star in the ranks of British diving. It's Lucas Thompson. Welcome to the studio, Lucas.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah,
Of
totally.
course. Pleasure to have you joining us now. A great year for you last year, named Team Scotland Young Athlete of the Year, British Swimming's Emerging Diver of the Year. Sum it all up for us.
It's just been really a roller coaster of the year because going into it, I was kind of the newbie on the scene. You know, I've just started diving 4 years ago. I transitioned from gymnastics over. So for me, it's been a steep climb up, and you know, I was just focusing on the process and little goals. And for me, the whole goal for last season was just to get to Commonwealth Games, and that was the big come out away with 5th and all these other things as well. It's just been a blessing, it really has.
I mean, it's been such a quick journey for you, like you say. Was this something you thought was a possibility back then?
Yeah, you know, I as I said earlier to you, I have this philosophy of trying to not limit myself and have limiting beliefs. You know, we're all incapable things, you know, and there's no point in restricting your potential. So, you know, it's always possible, and you never know what you can actually achieve, which is, you know, really nice and comforting going into competitions like that. Is kind of what I try to focus on, just doing what I can and seeing where it takes me.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got a big competition here this weekend, and lots of people at home do have a few questions for you. They've been messaging in for us on Instagram. If you want to get questions for your athletes, you can do so on the British Swimming Instagram page. So I've got a couple of questions from some people at home. We do have from Grace, what's your favourite dive?
My favourite dive? Ooh, that's a very tough one.
Yeah.
So, in my platform list, I tend to put my arm stance, the one where I do a big handstand on the end of the board, because, well, for most people, they find it really nerve-wracking in that sense. But through my gymnastics background, I tend to like putting it last because I'm quite comfortable on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like a bit impressive, you know, last round under the pressure, being able to do that dive. And so, yeah, that's one of my favorite dives.
Oh, the thought of doing a handstand up there actually makes me feel a bit ill, but you got it down. I love that, handstand. Okay, so we've got, the next one is, what's your best pre-training snack?
Pre-training
Food.
snack.
Athletes love their
Ooh,
food.
kind of pre-training or mid-training, I
Whatever,
really like
let's go for
dark chocolate with hazelnuts.
Do you? So it's like
good.
a naughty snack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, it's healthy as well, but you still get all the nutrients in that. But yeah, no, dark chocolate, I love it.
That indication as well, everyone needs a bit of that. Chocolate is healthy. We also have, a new one here. What would you say is your greatest tip to upcoming competitive divers? That's from Lydia.
Okay, so I would say focusing on the details is very important. And that goes with everything in life, you know. If you're just gonna do it half-hearted, kind of do the minimum, then you're not gonna be as successful as you can be. And I'm all about trying to unleash your potential within and do greatness. And that comes with hard work and focusing on those little details, because that is what makes it all the much better.
Focus on the details. It's a good piece of advice, I think, because I think so much of that is with diving as well. Obviously, you get the, once you reach a certain level, everyone is diving at that level. It's the details that are going to make the difference, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's one from Holly. This is from Holly. Thank you for tweeting in, Holly. If you weren't a diver, what would you be?
Table tennis player.
A table tennis player?
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Do you?
And when I was at Commie Games, I had this idea that, a dream to go to the Olympics after diving for table tennis when I'm like 60 years old. And so I was speaking to one of the table tennis players at Commonwealth Games, and he was explaining my dream, and it was like, you needed to take the sport up 10 years ago. So absolutely crushed my dream.
No!
But, I thought, why not still play it? And so I go and play along with my mum in her office. They're lucky enough. And, that would be my other sport.
A table tennis player.
Just do it for the fun.
Amazing. I can't believe your mum's got a table tennis table in her office.
Yeah,
Lucky mum. Or question, who's it going to be this from? Who is your most inspirational diver? This is a big one.
Ooh,
no, pressure's on
tough.
now.
The person I look up to most is this Chinese diver called Chen Ai-sen, because his technique is flawless. But on the other hand, my training partner, James Heatley, I look up to him in the sense that he is absolutely hilarious, a brilliant training partner, and makes training so much more enjoyable every day, just all the laughs.
Love that. It's such a tight squad, and that's quite sweet. Now, James is obviously diving in the next competition, but before we get to that, we're going to see how I did with my dive. So let's take a look. I'm going to get a score from this one. So now we're poolside. I've graduated to the big boys diving board. Chris, think you did well in there?
You smashed it.
Okay, so what are we going to do here?
First of all, a couple of jumps into a dive, and then once we've done the dive and you've nailed that, hopefully.
Okay,
we'll
start small. We'll start small.
Yeah, we'll start small.
All right, let's do it.
You got it. So you're on the board. This wheel, basically, the way this works is the further this is back, the more spring you get out of the board.
Okay.
It's based on ability. So I think combining both of them, I think we want it on about 5.5.
Okay.
Because that's going to give you enough spring to be able to do a dive, or 1.5.
Good job.
It was good. You're a little bit far out from the diving board, which means that when you start doing somersaults, you're probably going to end up wiping out on your back because your head's going to be down, your chest's going to be forward. Remember I said about keeping that chest up, yeah?
Dying. I've only done one jump. So I've mastered the jump. Next up,
The dive.
okay.
So, same thing with the chest up, yeah? Land here.
Okay.
It's great. Good tension as well.
Okay.
Nailed
A
it.
few mistakes, little ones, but getting better.
I feel like we've ironed them out.
Okay.
You've got the dive now on lock. You had a great distance from the board, which is really important for the 1.5. You're
Okay.
going to need to carry that over into the 1.5. So,
Okay.
fingers crossed.
Everything you've taught me, I'm going to do you proud. I'm going to do you proud.
Let's do it.
How was that from? Best teacher in the world.
So good.
It was good?
It was so good.
Did him proud.
Mate, it was because you kept your chest up, right? You went straight up, and then it just allowed you to come, like, float Gracefully down.
Eastfully into
Like a
the
graceful
water.
swan.
I'm over
Great.
the moon.
Hey.
Made up.
Killed it.
Thank you so much, brother.
Killed
That was
it.
awesome.
Well
That was
done.
awesome. Yes! There you have it. That was my 1 meter dive. How did I do, Lucas? Do I get a score?
Oh, 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10
brilliant.
for a
For a
first
beginner.
timer.
Loved it.
Smashed it. had the best teacher though. But of course that was my dive on the 1 meter. We do have guys that are going to do it a whole lot better now. And the first one we're going to look at, James Heatley. So let's take a look at what he had to say the other day.
So I am here with James Heatley at the Diving National Cup. How have your preparations been so far leading in?
Yeah, no, it's been really good. It's been a pretty long pre-season since Europeans. It's been long and tough, so just excited to get going. But,
Nice.
no, feeling good.
So me and you go way back.
Too far.
Yeah. Talk us a bit about the Gold Coast, or your Gold Coast experience and how that went for you.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. Got a bronze medal on 1 meter, and it was the first one for Scotland in
That's awesome.
60 years, and it was
Obviously,
my
I was
grandpa.
there, I saw it.
Yeah, so that was like, that meant a lot to me. So I think that was definitely my highlight of last year. And
Yeah.
so hopefully you can have some more memories
with
like that.
Your,
this
with
year.
your grandpa as well?
Yeah, so he was the last one diver, Scottish diver even, to get a Commonwealth medal for Scotland. So,
And then you came and did it as well.
Yeah, and
so
it was
runs
exactly-
in the family.
exactly
That's
60
awesome.
years.
That's so cool. So what is on the horizon for you in terms of this year and pending and going forward into 2020?
Yeah, so after this, hopefully try and qualify some of the Grand Prix events. But then we've got Summer Nationals, so we've got Worlds and Europeans, so hopefully be on those teams. And then going forward, it's looking into Tokyo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
How are you feeling about that? And also
Yeah.
with your diving list, I've seen on your Instagram you are doing some new dives, or maybe not new, but you're maybe implementing them in your list. Are you doing them here?
yeah, so I've added in front 4.5, so that's like the newbie. And then I'm doing reverse 3.5, which I've kind of been playing around with for a while. So I've got 2 new ones and a new hurdle step as well to help try and make those as good as I can. So some new things going this year.
Nice.
So.
I like it. So you're arming yourself with more DD so you can get higher up
Yeah,
there.
try and
I like
take
it.
some of these guys out.
I like it. Well, good luck for the
Thank you
event.
very much.
And hope it goes well.
There you have it. The man himself heading into his first final of the weekend here now. Lucas, he obviously trains with you up in Edinburgh. Talk us through James coming into this. How's his training been? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah, his training's been good, actually. I mean, it's at this time of the year, it's a little bit here and there, but some of the dives that he's doing are insane, and it's just whether he can put them together on the day. That's just the nature of diving, but
Yeah.
he's such a great character to train with. I love him.
And it is such a strong event for him as well. You know, he's got bronze medal at Europeans, bronze medal on the Gold Coast with this, which hasn't been done for a long time either. I think it was his
Yeah.
grandfather, wasn't it? It was the last time someone had won a medal in that.
Watch that was just phenomenal, and the tradition, carrying it on, it's very important to him, that tradition. He loves to look at like records and things that he can break and see what he can do, and he's such a competitor in that sense, and 1 meter really suits to his strengths because he can chuck these amazingly hard dives, and it's whether he puts them down on the day. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. We're about to find out.
Yeah.
But it's not just him obviously competing in this final. There's some other very, very tough divers. Chris, we've got Ross Haslam competing as well.
Yeah, Ross is really strong, and I can tell that he's been really working on his strength as well, just from watching him in the prelims and the training as well. And he's not using any new dives actually in the 1 meter, is he? I don't think, but he's executing them better, and his entries look so good. Like one of them that he did earlier, I was actually blown away how good it was. So he could do something here. And Yona, of course, is a really strong competitor. He's got a really good head on his shoulders as well. He's a real like one to watch for this.
I mean, you know, these boys, they all obviously compete alongside each other. Are you sort of seeing, you're new to the sport, obviously you've been around for a little while there, Chris. Are you seeing changes? Are you seeing these dives get harder and harder each year and people are having to push themselves, especially in something like a 1 meter?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not here at the moment.
Too much pressure.
Yeah, so much pressure, and do you know what? It's not just the fact that they're doing harder dives. It's almost like the dives they are doing, the bar is raised for how good it needs to be. So it was almost like you could get away with little misses here and there, but now it's like can't hide. Right? If you slip up just a little, you know, just a little bit, then someone's gonna take that spot.
So you need to hit those perfectly, those perfect dives.
It shows the strength of British diving at this scene, because if you can medal at one of these nationals, it shows that you're up there with the best of the best in the world, and gives you that confidence, as you'll know that yourself through all the competitions and that. the strength that we've come to in British diving is amazing.
I mean, it's been incredible to watch as a pundit and someone who enjoys the sport and watches from home. I think there's been an explosion sort of in British diving as well. We're really seeing like our divers are some of the best in the world. And are you guys sort of excited to be a part of that sort of growth?
It is. It's really exciting to watch, and it's exciting just to see the depth that we have. Like Lucas was saying, you know, like if you're medaling here at one of these events, then that it's not just like, oh, you come fourth even. It's not necessarily that bad a thing. Put you in the European Championships and you can medal. Like, you know, because there are loads of guys here that are so high level. So it's a really good event, this, like, to be a part of if you're up there.
Well,
and also good
the start of the season. The start of the season it's just started. We're about to get going with the 1 meter men's final. I can hear the music kick off, which means we're moments away. So you better get up there, Chris. And it's over to Bob in commentary. We'll see you in a bit. Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Here comes the introduction of the finalists. We will have 10 of them in the men's 1 meter final. And we're working our way through the list. Charlie Mearns of Albatross, Ross Beattie of Edinburgh, Cameron Gamage of Southampton, Anthony Harding of City. There's Big Yona. He'll be going number 9. And Ross Haslam from James Heatley of Edinburgh. Oliver Crompton will be in there as well. And Jordan Holden, who had a very good morning prelims. He's in 3rd overall. So it should be, you'd think, on paper, between the Yona Knight Wisdom and Ross Haslam, all of whom we will see on the 3 meter board over the weekend. But could there be a surprise? Anthony Harding getting in from City Leeds. We know he can dive better than he did this morning, so maybe this afternoon. And obviously the tariffs go up a little bit when it comes to the men for the 1 meter, and also that we have one more round as well. 5 rounds for the women, 6 rounds for the men. And just keep an eye open for the big dives of Yona Knight Wisdom, and James will have his in round 6. That's the inward 2.5. Yona Knight Wisdom has his in round number 5. And as for Ross Haslam, actually he doesn't have a big tariff dive. He's going up to the 3.4, 3.6. Just steady as she goes for him. 2.6, 3.2, fishing on 3.1. So it'd be interesting if James Heatley is challenging Ross Haslam at the end. James has 0.3 of a tariff advantage over Ross. Could be a lot tighter. James had this morning was his dive in round number 5, where he only got 39, and that kind of put him out of contention. If I need to say he's not even in the top 3 going into tonight, but we expect, as Chris rejoins me in the commentary area, it should really, shouldn't it, on paper be Ross Haslam, Yona Knight Wisdom, and James Heatley battling it up for the top 3.
Oh, I can't wait to critique my boys. Here we go.
Right, Charlie Mearns. So I mentioned there are 10. So because we have 2 overseas, in fact we have 3 overseas, 2 overseas divers in Alberto Alcon, and Yona Knight Wisdom counts overseas diver as well. Charlie Mearns up first, forward 2.5.
Nice, good start. Very good start. Nice and strong. Good pike shape you can see there. A little bit anticipating the come out there. A little bit washed over, but good dive overall, good start.
Yeah, tops the 50, which is what you're looking to do on a 2.6. Now Ross Beattie gets a second chance. Probably didn't think he would, the way he was diving earlier on, but he's got his high tariff dive comes in round 5, the inward 2.5. Here comes the inward 1.5, which is worth 2.4.
Well executed. He's a little bit quick on the save, which is basically, as he goes through the water there, he piked through a little bit too early, which meant it almost looked like he was short of vertical, but he wasn't. Threw up a little, very well executed. Nice dive, Ross.
7 across the board for Ross Beattie. Now Cameron Gamage, real talent, real prospect from Southampton. Fraser, 16 years of age, and he finishes with a couple dives, but to start off with 2.4. Dive you just saw from Ross Beattie, the inward 1.5.
Nice finish there. Really nice entry. Leg form again. I'm just going to say it again. It's so good. Really good technically.
I'll be down to your former coach then.
Yep. Lindsay is a great coach. and she really does nail home them, you know, them exercises in the gym and stuff like that to do with leg form. I can remember that.
You wake up in a cold sweat thinking about it. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist for Anthony Harding.
Much better start to his competition. Doesn't absolutely nail it, but it's a steady opener for him. Slightly over a vertical, hence the 7.5, 7. Not quite of that today.
But 54.60 will be good enough to put him in front for the time being, as we welcome the first of our 2 overseas. I don't reclass Yona as overseas, but you know what I mean. Alberto Alcon, the one Spaniard to make it through from 3 earlier today. Inward 2.5 somersaults, 3.1 going with a big one up next, but this is the inward 2.
Nice dive. Again, he cuts it off a little bit for me. I'd like to see him kind of jump a little bit higher, brings the knees in a little bit too quickly, executes the dive well, goes through the water nicely. His tuck as he's going through the water. I'd like to see a little bit more of a drop on that.
Good mark though, 60.45. It is a higher tariff dive, so we kind of expected that. Oliver Crompton now from City of Leeds. 2.6, second lowest tariff for him of his 6. And it's the forward 2.5.
Bit heavy into the end of the board there, bit clunky, as you can see, generating a lot of height though, because he's a strong lad. Nice pike shape, really good entry, 54.6 to start off with a low tariff. That's okay for him.
Now let's see how James Heatley responds to being interviewed by Chris Mears.
James.
I'm sure it's a real, encouraging way to go into it. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists for the man from Edinburgh. So he was 4th this morning, but it's mainly on the basis of a dropped round 5 dive.
Yeah, he really does have a lot of power.
Oh, look at that height.
Going straight up into the air. Unfortunately, landing short there. It's a drop dive for him already, which is not what he wanted. I'd shipped him to possibly win this event, and diving like that, it's going to be difficult.
He was up by the 5-meter board then.
He
was
even past it almost.
Ridiculous. Right, on to Jordan Houlden, and a very good morning for City of Sheffield, and he doesn't go below 3.0 on any of his dives, so it's quite high tariff throughout. 3.1 to start, inward 2.5 for the 20-year-old from Sheffield. It's a bit noisy here when they took that dive.
Yeah, that was very noisy. Really, really confident pike out. He piked out almost at the roof, which is just an incredible display of strength on that dive. Now, I think it was slightly too early because it was hard for him to get his hips through, but great score.
Well, he got 68 on that this morning, 65 this afternoon, so it was good. Wasn't quite as good as it was this morning. Now, Yona. Here's reverse 2.5. Watch the board go into the water on this.
Nice, steady reverse 2.5 there from Yona. Looked very controlled, very precise. Slightly over a vertical. Wow, you're not seeing 8s there on the board, but really nice steady there from Yona. I like that.
Now, as I mentioned, Ross Haslam's tariff throughout is not as big as some of the others. In fact, he starts on a 2.6 and works his way in. But he was 3 points better than Yona this morning. Forward 2.5 to start off with.
That's nice. As he went through the water, he kind of almost drifted over somehow, just a little bit with his legs, but he's not gonna worry about that too much. He's got 7.5, 55.9, which is really good on that tariff. So as that's his lowest tariff as well, that'll be good for him to carry forward as he goes into the higher degree of difficulty rounds.
On to round 2. And from Albatross Diving Club in Reading, Charlie Minns, 20 years of age. Here comes the first of his 3.0 dives, which he has 3. Forward, 3.5 somersaults.
It's not bad, but a little bit of a shame because he nailed that about 30 minutes ago in his training and everyone was clapping, but unfortunately he quite get the same dive as he did in his training there. Just a little bit short.
Be nice to give the judges that option. Come on, watch me in training. Give me the mark then.
Give me the mark of the one I did earlier. That was really, really good.
Sad it doesn't quite work that way.
It doesn't work like that.
I
No,
wish it did. Then everybody would be first, wouldn't they?
Everyone would be the champion.
They would. Ross Beattie then. Back from a 3 to a 2.6 here. Forward 2.5. Good correction.
Yeah, he was far back on the end of the board. Looked a bit wayward, and then he kept it under control. Ross is my sevens guy. Like I said earlier, he's really, really consistent, and he seems very confident in his ability of what he can deliver, and he's shown that there.
That was a good start for Cameron Gamage. On a 2.4, he got 52.8, so that was a good start. He'll go up through the gears a little bit. 2.6, forward 2.5 for the 16-year-old from Southampton.
Another nice dive there, a little bit over-rotating. Leg again was beautiful, pike shape. Look at his head getting straight on his knees. Crazy, crazy flexibility there. Nice dive, Cameron.
Happy with that? Face didn't give much away, did it? But
No, not giving much away there.
Anthony Hardy now, so he leads, 5th at the moment, 3.1 degree of difficulty on this one, which is a inward 2.5.
So much better from Anthony this afternoon. That's going to score, I think, really high. They've not quite gone with it. I think maybe they thought he was a little bit lower than the other guys, which he may have been. But very nice entry, and I love the way he comes out of that. Maybe I'm biased, I don't know.
They are wearing out that number 7 button, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah, really.
Alberto Alcon of Spain. Good start, 60.45 on his inward 2.5. Forward 3.5 now.
He really stomps that board there as he approached into his hurdle. Massive clunk, could hear it from here. But he saved it well, you know, the somersault was good, but unfortunately then he just drifted a little bit over. Maybe he's a little bit worried about his hurdle step there.
54 for the Spaniard. 2 divers from City of Leeds made the final. Here's the second of them, Oliver Crompton. Inward 2.5.
Nice dive there. Just doesn't have time like the other boys to pike out of the dive, and it does look really nice when you pike out of it. These straight kicks, but it's effective, and it gets him 57.35, so he's not going to worry about that.
Yeah, 54 followed by 57 for Crompton. Now James Heatley, so his first round. So he goes through threes to 3.2, and then that big dive at the end, which could be all important, 3.4. Here's his reverse 2.5 after the reverse 1.5. Too far back, wasn't
Again, he was really far back there on his hurdle step, but he did really well out of that. He kind of did the same thing earlier, and he skipped out with his hips, and he didn't really go up. Made it difficult for him to really be precise about where he was in his somersault to get a good entry.
Yeah, he'll know that. You'll know from that takeoff it wasn't right, but to manage to still save it. Jordan Holden, could he be the surprise packet this afternoon? He started brilliantly with the inward 2.5. Forward 3.5 now, and as I mentioned, he doesn't go below 3.0, so he's got the tariff.
Oh, again, he nailed that in his training, again with the forward 3.5 somersaults tucked. Just drifting over there, but that strength was incredible. He really made it look really easy. A lot easier than it is.
Well, he's still the leader at the moment. But we have 2 big men. One very big man coming up next. Yona Knight Wisdom, representing Jamaica here, but now diving for the city of Edinburgh. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists for Yona after that. Reverse 2.5.
Board straight in the water, great entry. Again, little discrepancy in the middle of the dive where his legs split and was a little bit far back off the end of the board. That doesn't necessarily offend me. I thought it was a good dive. Just that leg split is why he's not getting the big scores there.
I think that's what my former co-commentator called helicopter feet.
Helicopter feet, yeah. That sounds about right. Leon, I guess.
On to Ross Haslam, 4th at the moment because of that very low tariff dive at the beginning, but now he gets going. 3.2, forward 2.5 with 1 twist.
Oh, that was a beautiful entry. Slightly too far forwards. As you can see, as he steps into his hurdle, his direction of travel is kind of pushed back. But 70 points. It's a good dive.
Now takes him into the lead. And he did 68 this morning. That was his best dive this morning, 68.
Yeah.
So he's bettered that. 70.40, so he takes the lead. 1/3 of the way through the competition. Charlie Minns, Albatross Diving Club of Reading. Reverse 2.5. He's done the 2 forward dives. Here comes the reverse.
They cut off that arm swing very quickly indeed to get straight into the tuck position. You can see there, collects his legs way too early. Doesn't wait for the board. Then comes out a little bit early. Not what he would have wanted there.
That's what you call super safe, I think.
Yeah, that was very safe.
You're not going to hit the ball with that, are you?
Yeah. I don't mind that, you know. Just not too close, please.
Ross Beattie up next for round 3. Back 1, 2.3 for the other Edinburgh diver. In fact, 3 of them. Yeah. Waiting for the referee's whistle. There you go.
When we're underway. Yep, nice measured dive there from Ross. Not quite the entry you'll be looking for, so maybe 6.5, 7 there. But again, steady going. Steady Eddie.
4.85 for Ross. Now, Aaron Gamage. 16 years of age from Southampton. Good opening 2 dives. 52.53 on low tariff dives, and this is a low tariff dive, in fact, the lowest of his program. 2.3. Back 1.5 somersaults.
Really nice technique he's got. Shame he just can't display a little bit more power. As he's quite a small guy, but the way that he takes off from the board and his leg strength is really, really nice to watch. Just not quite hitting that entry.
Now on to Anthony Harding of City of Leeds. 4th place at the moment, so knocking on the door after a 65 and a 54 to open. Reverse 2.5 somersaults for the 18-year-old from Leeds.
I think we see there again just Anthony just not comfortable there. Looks like a little bit more actually as he comes into the end of the board. Way too much power after that. I think he panicked and went straight into his tuck shape. Too aggressive, just needs to be weight. But so much power from this kid. He's got such a bright future ahead of him.
That's the dive he got 31 on this morning. 40 this afternoon. Alberto Alcon of Spain. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist, 3.2.
And that all just looks very rushed to me. Stomping into the end, into the pike. Twist was very head down again, which makes it very difficult to get a good dive. Through the water, I don't think he really saw the water. I think he just kind of hit him.
3.2 for the Spaniard, so no improvement there. I think probably knock him back a space or 2. Now Oliver Crompton, City of Leeds. Anthony Harding from City of Leeds went 2 before. He's got 54 and 57 under his belt already. Reverse 2.5.
Oh, go on, Ollie. That was great. Really good height. Look at him get that finish. Nice. Good lad. Little knee save.
A bit of splash on the entry.
Yeah, I was a bit biased there. He was a Leeds boy. I used to train alongside him. I've seen his struggles, and he's getting there, man. He's doing really well. He's got a lot more power. Not quite on the same level technically on some of these other boys, but you know, he puts in a lot of effort.
James Heatley not in the top 3 at the moment. Not a million miles away from it though. Back 2.5 for the Edinburgh swimmer. Diver 54.61 so far for Heatley. Pounds.
And again, it's the same technique that we saw this morning with James's back 2.5 tuck. He's a bit slow to get in to the somersault. It's a little bit too much delay. Doesn't really get it moving and then can't get his feet up to get the entry that I've seen him get before.
No, he won't be pleased with that. 52.5, not really where he wants to be with that dive, because everybody else is getting 60s at the moment, including the man up next. George City of Sheffield, 65 and a 60 so far. Was pretty consistent all the way through, apart from this dive. This is the one that caused him earlier today and got 40 on the back 2.5 somersaults.
Again, he's almost got that. He's got this technique where he kind of really cruises into the somersault, and I think he just needs to be slightly more aggressive on the top of that dive. He's not going to be disappointed because that's 61.5 and that's 20 more points than he got earlier in the day. So well done, but he's missing a little trick there. He can get a lot more out of that dive.
All right, well, let's do a compare and contrast, because Jordan Houlden's just done that dive and Yona Knight Wisdom's about to do it. 23-year-old from Jamaica. Used to be with Leeds, now in Edinburgh. Go with the back 2.5 once again. 3rd place at the moment for the Jamaican, who was successful last year.
Oh, and that's great from Yona. What an amazing entry. The guy went through the water there, picks up his knees really quick. And I'm not sure why they haven't given it an 8, and that 6.5 doesn't belong on that scoreboard, but it's there anyway.
Are you biased because he's a former teammate of yours as
Absolutely
well?
not.
61.5, 61.5 and 63 for Knight Wisdom. Right, Ross Haslam in the lead. 4 3.5. It's all 3 here on in for him. 4 3.5, reverse 2.5, finishing on the inward 2.5.
Ross not quite with that. It's good, but it's not as good as he can do it. He's a little bit over. He's not going to be too disappointed with it, as it is his highest degree of difficulty. And he did land on his head, but he can do that better.
Yep, 61.5 it is for him, so that keeps him in the lead. In the lead by only 1.2 though from Jordan Houlden. So the 2 Sheffield boys at the top. Yona Knight Wisdom for Jamaica in 3rd. And right at the bottom, Ross Beattie and Charlie Minns. So still very tight at the top. 3 more
Only a couple of
rounds
points
to
in
go.
it.
Yeah.
187, 186, 186.
Ross's
Very
winning
tight.
score this morning, 358. Charlie Minns, back 2.5 somersaults for him. Fin Club in Reading.
Almost there. Again, same as this morning. I think there's, yeah, he kind of lets go in his muscle, which means he's not really in a good tuck shape, and it's difficult then to make the dive and really get your feet up and be able to put an entry on that. It's not a good place to be. Open tuck shape and a back 2.5 is not a good feeling, trust me.
Yeah, and 5s is not what he wants as a return on that either. Ross Beattie for lowest but 1 tariff for him. Reverse 1.
That's not what Ross was looking for there. It's a little bit slow picking up his legs and early to come out as well, which is a weird decision considering it was already quite slow, but maybe he thought the adrenaline might carry it through. Unfortunately, in this case, it didn't.
Yeah, which is in the marks of 33.60 for the 18-year-old from Edinburgh. From him to the youngster from Southampton, Cameron Gamage. Good start, a couple of 52 and 53s. We'll want to finish as high up the pecking order as he can. Not expected to get a medal here, but back into the 2s in terms of the tariff dives. 2.6, reverse 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists.
Now he set that up with great technique. He's probably perfect distance away from the board, actually. Perfect. Perfect distance. Really good entry. Really good form again. Every time with this kid.
There's your sevens man. A couple of sevens in there in the 6. Now, Anthony, got to pick it up again from that poor third round dive again. First 2 rounds fine, third round not. We know that his mind went somewhere else on round 4 earlier today.
Yeah, it really did. Hopefully he can pull it back with a back 2.5. And he does. That was the best we've seen today. Really good top. Look at that spin speed. Really nice. They didn't go with it. They didn't go with it.
Yes, your lead's coming out, definitely.
Maybe.
The judges think so.
I do want him to. I do want him to do well.
58.5 for Anthony Harding. Alberto of Spain, 7th at the moment. Of course, he can't win a medal, so it'll be an overseas medal if he does so. Back 2.5 somersaults for the Spaniard. Of course, that was over in a trice, wasn't it?
Yeah, very quick. As you see, again, it's skipping out of the board, really fast somersault, and then just unable to control it, to be honest. Impossible to control it. That's, you put it up and slow it down, it might be a little bit easier.
I wonder why he goes that quick. He did the same thing this morning, didn't he? Really, it's almost like
I think he doesn't like the dive.
Rocket. No, this man has been the model of consistency so far. 54, 57, 58. 3, so probably not expecting him to be up in those dizzy heights yet, but back 1.5 somersaults. Oliver Crompton in 4th at the moment.
Nice pike position, nice takeoff. Leaving his chin on his chest a little bit as he goes through the water there, and then over-rotating, and that's causing that splash to come up, but then I don't understand why that's a 6.5. Just going to be honest with the judging there. But, you know,
we'll have you down there before
we'll
long.
go with it.
Okay, James Heatley. Time to make a move, I think. Maybe on this. Forward to 1 twist. Not playing around now. 3.2, 3.3, 3.4 to finish. So big tariffs. Bigger than Ross Haslam.
He's executed that really well. Almost as good as Ross. Really nice dives. Just a tiny bit short of vertical when he goes through. 68.8. That's a really good score.
Well, I got 72 this morning, so not quite as good. But still keeps him in the mix for the top 3. This has been the maybe surprise packet of the day so far. 20-year-old from Sheffield, Jordan Hulden, in 2nd place. Could be a Sheffield 1-2 just at the moment.
Oh, that
what
was
a save.
really good.
What a save that was.
Hurdle step wasn't good, but he countered that by coming out early. He already predicted that one, and then he landed on his head. It wasn't the most clean because of what had gone on earlier in the dive, but that was a good save.
Well, I'd always factor in a few more marks for a save like that, but judges don't.
They don't.
58.5. So chance for Untitled Wisdom to overtake him on this forward 3.5. Well, it had to happen the way that board went into the water then, because
right into the water.
Right into the water, and I think that threw him off.
His head went down. He got in a really nice tuck shape as well. It must have felt almost too good. He didn't want to come out.
I think that's the furthest I've ever seen him push the... I mean, he pushes the board in the water, we know, but that went quite a long way.
He really did ride the board well. He really did.
So Ross Haslam, at the moment, kind of has it to himself, the lead. As long as he doesn't screw up on this reverse 2.5. So got 2 more to come after this, of course, but at the moment he's in prime position. And too close to the edge.
There's the reverse 2.5 somersaults. He was over the end, but he saved it with a beautiful dive. He kicked straight up, really sharp kick, gets his hands on the end, and bang, 66 points. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 250. So well on course to beat his score from earlier, 358. 2 more rounds to come. Charlie Minns of Reading. Got to be careful with this one. It's a high tariff dive, and this obviously his head's going towards the board. Inward. Get a nice distance from it.
The start was better than that. Tuck shape was better. but he just anticipated it a little bit too much to come out of the dive, and he came out a little bit too early to get them 7s. Happy with that, though.
Couple of 6s, 5.5 will count. Remember, 3 marks without the lines through them go towards the score. Now Ross Beattie. His scores have got less and less as he's gone along. He was 44, then 33, so hopefully this is not a 22.
Oh, and he just
didn't spot the entry, did he?
Quite spot the entry there. He was slow to come out of the dive. He almost seemed very unsure. Like, he came out and it was right, and then he didn't commit to it, and then he delayed. And had he committed first time round, it would have been really good.
49.6. Well, I'm very impressed with this young man, 60 years of age, from Southampton. The next Chris Mears. Reverse 2.5 somersaults for Cameron Gamage. He's going to finish.
Again, great form. He did that really well. That's a really hard dive for a guy of his age and his build as well. I'm really impressed with that. 61.5. He's going to be really happy with that, especially on the reverse. With that hurdle, really well done.
Give us a smile, Cameron. That was good.
He's not giving anything away, is
good. Really good. Now, Anthony Harding, our City of Leeds. Well, look at him. He's 4th place. With Yona screwing up on that dive just now, he could get into top 3. Should get 3. Forward 2.5.
Yeah, that's just really easy for Tony. Almost annoyingly easy. How time 59, almost 60 points on a really easy dive. That's a tall order, and he just delivers it again and again.
8 in there. Alberto Alcon of Spain. His last dive is a lower tariff dive. This is the last of the big ones, if you like. 3.0 reverse, 2.5 somersaults.
Yeah, that start again. Yeah, the board is just rattling all over the place, making it very difficult for himself. The somersault speed was so fast. Just slow it down, and you might be able to have a little bit more for that entry.
Quite sure why he feels the need to do that. He's on 2 dives now. He did it this morning as well. I mean, there's attacking the board and there's attacking the board.
Yeah, no, he really went for it, didn't he?
Oliver Crompton of City of Leeds. Again, not too far away from top 3. It's getting a bit bunched up. 2 down to 5 now. 3.2 dive to finish as well. 4, 3.5 this is. Middle of the pool, but still.
Yeah, middle of the pool. He was shoulders forwards from the beginning of the dive, even in his hurdle step and his approach. That led him to go out and then to go over. All the mistakes of putting the shoulder. Unfortunately there for Ollie.
Now, James Heatley will not need reminding. This was the dive that went spectacularly wrong earlier today. 39 miles. This
was.
Forward 3.5. Worth 3.3. If he nails it, we're looking at 70 plus.
There it is.
Good readjustment on the board as well.
Oh, there it is. Perfect hurdle step. Great pike shape. Awesome entry. 74 points. 74.25. Really, really good. That was absolutely solid.
So he's gone from 39.6 earlier today to 74.
And that's the diving world.
Yeah. Well, it'll put pressure on this man, for certain. 3.0. John Holden is holding his own in 2nd place, but he needs something big here. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists. Model of consistency so far. Commentators curse, I hope not. No.
Oh, it's good, it's good. Left his hips a little bit on that entry. You can see just there. Didn't quite squeeze. I'm not sure what the judge is going to do. They're going to go with him and give him 7s. I think it was probably 6, 6.5.
Well,
but
he's got
good
60.
for him.
Yeah. Puts him in 2nd place. Yona now back in 6th. Slipped down the rankings, but doesn't mean he can't catch it up. He's got 3.4. This is his big dive now. It's kind of nail this or bust for him. Inward 2.5. the dive that James Heatley finishes on.
Oh, he's done it again. Fantastic from it's such a hard dive. And with his long legs as well, that is almost impossible to be able to. I am so impressed with that. 74.8 on the in-between-half pike. Awesome stuff.
71 this morning, 74 this afternoon. 74.80 moves him up into third, which will probably be fourth after Ross Haslam has done his back 2.5. And again, we mentioned it, hasn't got a big dive in this program, but just goes on consistently notching them up. 70, 61, 66.
Not quite there from Ross, a little bit on his shoulders, not enough power, kind of similar to this morning, to be honest. I think that's something he needs to go back to the drawing board on in his training.
Goes into second. 55.5, remember, he's got 3.1 at the end. James Heatley's got a 3.4. In fact, all his major competitors have got higher tariff dives. So that's how it looks going into rounds. Nothing in it. Top three, nothing in it.
Nothing in it.
6 points.
Well, we've got James Heatley also with the in-between-half pike to finish. That's a strong dive for him. He'll be good with this one.
Well, he'll know what he has to do by that time, pretty much. Although actually he's got a couple after him, so we'll see. Charlie Mins to finish. That's 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists.
Nice way to finish. Not very confident in the hurdle step. A little bit shaky, but always nice when you can come back from that.
44.2, mainly 5.5s in that lineup. One of 3 Edinburgh finalists. Ross Beattie up next. As I mentioned, Yoda Night Wisdom is representing Jamaica, not Edinburgh today. A 2.6 dive for Ross. Forward 1.5 somersaults with 2 twists.
Yeah, almost very consistent list there from Ross. Just over-rotating there. The twist was really good and the height was really good, actually. The board timing, everything was really class. Just unfortunately, just all was just a bit too good and he just didn't anticipate being higher than he normally is.
Right, Cameron Gamage. Probably not going to make top 3 now, you wouldn't think. It's got a 3.1 to finish, so apart from round 3 when it got a 44, but that was on a 2.3. 52, 53, 53, 61. He's been pretty much on the button all the way through. Can he finish that way?
Not quite there from Cameron. Just, yeah, it's all happened at the start of the dive. Didn't quite get the desired start. Hips were back. Tuck shape was then a real struggle, and then was still coming out of the dive when he hit the water.
Bit of a shame.
Yeah, shame for Cameron.
Anthony Harding then. The forward 2.5 got him 59.6. What will the forward 3.5 get him?
And that is awesome. Tony really displaying what he can do in this competition, even though he's dropped a lot of his dives. 67.5, a little bit far away from the diving board. Awesome dive.
I think to be fair to, he's only really dropped round 3, that 40. Everything has been 54, 58, 59, 60 so.
He'll be happy with the rest of his list. He will.
Alberto Alcon for Spain. We'll finish off with his lowest tariff dive. First time he goes outside the 3s, 2.6, forward 2.5. Quite a spring on that too, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. He really is hot into the end of that diving board, I tell you. Pike shape was good. Opened up nice and early. It's always nice to see. Good entry.
53.30. He'll finish on 2.93. Oliver Crompton then for his finish. For those who joined us this afternoon, cold refers to the City of Leeds Diving Club. Not reflecting how it is in this building, because it's absolutely sweltering. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist.
Oh, he's hot into the end of that board there. Again, we've seen that time and time again today. And then kind of just chesting the water a little bit, not quite going through the water like he would have wanted to. Not the best way to finish.
Right, here's the man to lead market. I think I'm safe to say, Chris, if he nails this, he's won it. Because the tariff dive he's got is much higher than everybody else.
No one will be able to catch him if he nails it.
So we're looking at 75 here.
I reckon if he can get above 70, no one can catch him.
Inward, 2.5, James Heatley.
It's nice. It's a little bit sideways, but it's a solid dive there. 71.4. I'd say it's fairly safe to assume that he can't be caught at this point, but you never know. Ross, what does Ross have for his last dive?
He got both Jordan and Yona got 3.2s, and Ross got 3.1. So, yeah, mathematically, it's still possible. This man's going to have to dive out of his skin. What did he get on this earlier today? 67. Needs more than that. Oh, he put so much effort into that.
He put a lot of aggression into that end of the board there. He came out on top. He really got the dive down at the end of the day. 72 points. Nice dive.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough to catch James Heatley, but just edges him a bit closer.
Good effort.
That was all effort. That was all power, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yona Like Wisdom, who was moved up to 4th after that poor dive in round 4. Hoping for a top 3 place, but maybe out of contention.
Yeah, almost there from Yona. It looked like he was lacking a little bit in his power, actually, in the end of the board. He normally cruises that round, and he's just struggling a little bit on the end of the dive, on the back end of the dive, going through the water. Who knows, maybe he's conserving energy for his synchro performance with James Heatley in the synchro later.
So we're looking at 75 here for Ross to win it, thereabouts.
It's a tall order.
It's a lot on the 3.1, isn't it?
It's a tall order.
What did he get earlier today? 65.
Oh, it's very, very nice, and it's perfect distance from the board. An awesome touch. That's really nice, and he's done it. 74.4,
he's done it.
And he's done it by the skin of his teeth.
74.40. Well done, Roscoe. Was quite a recovery. 55 in round 5. We're thinking his chance is gone, especially with Heatley with having the highest tariff dive of the whole bunch in round 6. But he's nabbed that by, I would think, about a mark.
Can't be more than such an awesome dive.
There you go.
He knew what he needed. He would have known exactly what he would needed, and he went and delivered.
1.25 is won that by. In a competition where it's nearly 400 points each.
He's won that by less than 2.
Terrific performance. Really, really good performance. And let's talk about Jordan Houlden as well. You know, he didn't drop a dive all the way through.
Also Jordan, and the changes he's made on his technique for the hurdle step is awesome. He's come leaps and bounds from the last time I saw him, probably 6-7 months.
So there you go, 383 compared to 358 earlier today. James Heatley with the medals this morning, but he's made it up to 2nd place. Thought he'd probably done enough. I imagine he probably came off that last dive thinking, yeah, I've probably done enough here.
Yeah, no, he will have done.
Yona, that one drop dive. In the end, he was only 26 behind. Now, if you look at it, he got 28. If he got in the 50s, he would have been in the medals.
Yeah, I think this really shows the depth in British diving right now. The fact that if you just drop one dive, there's someone there that's going to take that position. They're going to fill it straight away. We really have like such a depth in British diving. We've got so many great athletes now, which is really, really, really makes us have a bright future. It's really good to see.
Well, let's hear from the winner, snatching it in the final dive. Here's Ross Haslam with John.
There you have it. That concludes the men's 1 metre final. I've got the champion right here, Ross Haslam. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How was that for you?
Hopefully a lot more points in there in terms of the scoring, but I've not really it's not been my priority doing 1 meter. I've been doing loads of work on 3 meters, so I'm actually really happy with what I've done today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, such a tight race between
really
you and
tight.
James. What was going through your mind out there at your final dive?
I needed straight 8s, and I was thinking, to be honest, like inward's not my best dive. If I was going to count on a dive to do straight 8s, I was like, maybe not inward. So I was like, right, well, just put in a good one, and then came out. I was like,
Let's see how it goes.
thank the Lord, yeah.
Thank the Lord. I mean, mate, you and your brother both here competing this weekend. You guys, not only you guys seem so close, the whole squad does. I've been watching you all. How important it is to have that sort of support when you're coming into competitions like this?
I think that's one of the best things about diving. Like, I've seen in other sports when I've been to like multi-sport games, and people don't really hang around as much, whereas we are like a massive family. We only get to see each other every now and again at competitions, but actually it's like some of my best friends are all from diving. So,
it's so sweet to watch, mate. And you got the rest of the weekend ahead. How are you feeling as we move into that?
All right, we've got synchro later, so yeah, that's hopefully just to settle the nerves and then get into that, and then 3 meter tomorrow, so it should be.
Well, nice
so
and warm
hopefully
for tonight.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
I've got them crossed for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get your photo, because we've got our wall up here with the best of British. You are now officially the best of British. Okay, ready? 3. I'm terrible with technology. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to get you signed that. You're going to join the wall like me and Kat and Chris.
Thank you.
We love it. But look, thanks so much for coming down and joining us. Congratulations. What an amazing start to your competition. And good luck for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you very much.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are off for a little while. We're going to be back on air at 4:30 p.m. We've got loads more action coming up. We've got the 10 meter synchro and the 3 meter synchro, so lots of exciting stuff. Don't forget the hashtag for the entire event is hashtag #DeepEndLive and hashtag NDC 2019. Thank you very much. Right, we'll see.